This is Ed in San Diego. That's the harbor. The shot I took from the Coronado side of San Diego Bay. And you're looking at downtown there. A little hard to see, but it was a beautiful day. And that is about 2 miles from where I'm sitting right now in Seaport Village, which is right downtown in the tourist convention center area. Our very special guests today, both ladies, are in Mexico City. Hola, and welcome again to Global Business TV Talk Show.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, Ed.
I am really honored to be able to continue this series with you, Adriana, and very nice to meet you. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm Adriana Fuentes, a Mexican writer. And I mean, we've been doing these shows, Strong Woman Talk about workplace challenges since a few months ago. So very happy to keep doing this with you and with our guest. And today we have a special guest, Erika Holguin. I will take a few minutes to introduce her. And the topic today, I love it because we talk Ed, a lot about, with your different community of people, we talk about a lot about leadership. So our topic today is complementary female leadership with male leadership. But first, let me introduce Erika Holguin, our guest. I will read her bio. Erika is a lawyer with more than 25 years of experience. Her career has taken her from the world of private law to the role of serving as an in-house counselor to one of the world's leading beverage companies. She studied law in Mexico City and later pursued her master's degree in United States and experience broadened her perspective and her ability to navigate both local and international legal landscape. For 2 decades, she worked as a private law firm where she built her expertise, learned her ins and outs of legal system, and developed passion for solving complex challenges. Outside of work, she's also a part of Month of Two Wonderful Girls, and balancing her career and family has been one of the greatest challenges and rewards, I think, for all of us. And it is taught her resilience, adaptability, and the importance of perspective. She's someone who loves connecting with people, finding creative solutions, and supporting those around her, whether in the office or at home. So, welcome, Erika.
Thank you so much, Adriana. Thank you. And thank you, Ed, for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
I'm really honored to have you and your voice on this program. The program is primarily geared for business to business. Um, it's worldwide, including the streaming, in other words, the subsequent recording of the video and audio and the text notes. They go out through my owned and operated Global Business News network, globalbusinessnews.net, and our YouTube channel is very, very busy, more than 1,100 productions. I've been fortunate to produce and host and distribute. And they're all up there, available free subscription on YouTube. More about that later. The primary distribution of the finished video and audio links will be via LinkedIn. LinkedIn is huge. It is a place where I've been living for more than 10 years. And we have active memberships in their networking groups, more than just about 100 groups I belong to, with a total membership reach potential of 2.6 million. Doesn't mean they're all looking at this at the same time. Um, this is a live broadcast simultaneously being recorded using my Zoom. And later in my day today, which is October 22 or 25, this program will be, again, distribution, global free access, nonstop, 365, 724 availability through the networking that I personally manage and set up. But the system takes care of the subsequent audience build. I'm pretty sure by now how social media works, particularly the business to business scene, not necessarily Instagram or TikTok. Those are not my audiences, as of now anyway. But it's business to business, and that means LinkedIn. And through that, its subsequent linkage down the line through Apple and Spotify and X and others. But the primary distribution are members, business members of the LinkedIn networks, US and global. The US side of our audience is approximately 80%, maybe even higher. And the largest market of audience that we have to date is in London Metro, outside of the Eastern New York, Boston, Washington, Miami, Atlanta, East Coast, and Toronto also. California is huge, of course, with Silicon Valley in the north and Southern California and everything to do with LA. San Diego is a suburb of LA and on the Mexican border, as far south as you can get in the US. And so we're heavily international and very happy to have this program because the audience in LatAm and the Caribbean and elsewhere, Spanish speaking audiences in Europe and beyond.
Yeah, and jumping into the topic today, as you just mentioned, Latin America, I can say that we live in a very macho man country and region. So this is why I just thought that this topic will be very interesting to discuss with Erica. So Erica, jump into the first question. How do you think an organization move beyond stereotypes of feminine and masculine leadership styles to truly harness the best of both?
Yeah, thank you, Adriana, again. I think we need to go back to like the typical stereotypes which traditionally we see between male and female, whether uh, work types or leadership styles. I think the male leadership is statistically or stereotypically classified or perceived as, very task oriented, very an authority role, someone who gets decisions made no matter what. While the female leadership stereotype is more, the typical, oh, well, we multitask, but we also have to be at home, but we're also people who have more empathy and we listen to others. And we try to make everything a little more collaborative. And I think that's all fine. I think it's great that we have those differences. I personally, struggled with this while having my growth in my career because I was, as you say, Adriana, the typical female trying to grow and advance professionally in a country where, it's more male dominated, especially in the legal sector. And I always felt like I wanted to lead, I wanted to grow, but it was just so hard, right? And then when you eventually get there, when you eventually are in a leadership position, that's when you realize these, differences between the styles that each gender has. So I think the only way we can get over these stereotypes, if if there is a getting over them, because we are different in the end, I think it's just first accepting that there are these differences, and there's not one that's good and there's not one that's bad. I just think they need to coexist, and there needs to be a respect for the way the other person leads. Now, this, of course, I'm talking about, men and women. This, of course, applies to anyone. It could be another man, another woman. There could be two females in leadership positions with absolutely different leadership styles, right? But on this specific topic, I think the way you get over it is you basically accept that there are differences and try to correlate both of them to get the best joint leadership style that you can get. In my case, for example, for a business, you can't have leaders thinking differently, right? Whether you're a man or a woman, you need to coexist at some point to get business done, right? So you need to get over a bunch of hurdles, and you need to, sometimes swallow things you might not like, or again, respect differences of opinion and differences of style. I think that's pretty much how I would go about it.
Well, I just want to jump in and say that because my background is dealing with people, talent development, talent recruitment, a lot of our audience is, as I mentioned earlier, it's primarily business to business, 90%, maybe more. And more than half of that audience is female. More than half.
Yeah.
Probably 60%, maybe more.
Right.
Oh,
But
yeah.
Ed, don't you think it's funny? I mean, I always think about this statistically, right? Because we have a certain percentage of women graduating from X or Y careers. We have a certain percentage of women who are in your listening audience. But when you actually think about it, how many women are actually in leadership positions? And I know it's a completely different subject, but it's hard to, think about females in leadership positions and how they coexist with male leadership when the percentage of women in leadership roles is still so low, at least in Latin America.
Yeah. Well, and you're a lawyer and a business lawyer. So you're not unique, but a few.
Mhm.
Well, congratulations.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and I just, to finish with this system, I mean, idea, for me, it's like it's not about just gender itself, it's about combining diverse leadership strength, to achieve, I mean, better outcomes for the company. It's just like you mentioned, Erica, how can we can, like work together and complement each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely. So, the second question in today's show is, could you share an example, if is the where collaboration between female and male leadership created stronger outcomes than one style alone? I mean, any example do you want to share, in the company that you're working or before, or
Yeah, I don't think I have just one example, Adriana. It's not like, oh, 2 weeks ago this happened. I think it's more of things that I face and that I've learned on a day-to-day basis, right? And the way work goes, just to try to be better as a company, just all acting together. And I know that might sound kind of corny, but at the end of the day, for example, I am legal in my company, right? But there's a bunch of different business units that I work with on a day-to-day basis, whether that be tax or finance or compliance or government or procurement or whatever you want to call it. And within these business units, we have both male and female leaders, all of which, at the end of the day, when we need to make a decision for the business and our input, from each of these areas is required, we need to come together as a team and we need to listen to what one leader is saying and then listen to what another one is saying. Obviously, always keeping everything on the table, everything is valid, and then reach a joint conclusion because we need to make executive decisions, not on a daily basis, multiple times a day, right? Whether it be, risk assessment or, something financial. So I think it's not just one example, it's just the example of how we all need to come together for the running of a business with different leadership styles. And there are many times which I may not agree with other people, but of course there's many times that other people do not agree with me. So we have to literally sit down and hash it out and say, well, the reason I'm saying is this. Uh, the reason I'm saying this is because this is what I want to achieve. And then you listen to the other one, right? And I think there, it's just a coincidence that there's men and women there. Again, I'm going back to the general different types of leadership that can exist, whether it's a male or a female leadership. You just need to have it, come together and just like have it mold into one final decision. And that's the way I see an example of how we work on a day-to-day basis.
Adriana, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. My video, perhaps you've noticed, has conked out and it's trying to reconnect and it's coming from Zoom.
We can see you now.
See,
You
we can
know,
see you.
okay, you can see me. I can't make my my virtual background work for some reason, and this is my dining room table that
That's
I'm at.
okay.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I'm still alive here on the show with you, but I hear you, and everything's seemed to be okay. So let's continue. I really am impressed with your stick-to-itiveness, both of you, and the idea that you, Adriana, are documenting a lot of this stuff through your books, and Erica, you are documenting it in your day-to-day life. Yeah. Are you writing a book also?
I am not. Um,
But I
I
can help you.
Yeah, I would love that. Let's talk offline later.
Okay, great. So I'm not going to ask you about the kind of company that you're in, but I assume it's a high-powered role.
Yes, yes, it's a large company with, many important decisions to be made, a very large business globally. And yeah, I mean the work, at least for me in my position, it's stressful. You're an in-house lawyer. You need to, again, make decisions on a daily basis, and we do this as a team. I mean, it's not just me making the decisions. I'm, of course, not the most important person in the company by far. I mean, there are so many other people above me position wise, below me position wise, that come together. And we have to use this leadership as a team to be able to get things moving.
And what percentage of the leadership, manager and higher, in that company is female?
It's unfortunately in Mexico still very low.
Yeah.
I'd like to say something around probably 10% is female in leadership positions. However, uh, I do think we're getting better. We are getting better today. We have, been getting better for the past years. Everything that exploded during the last 5 years, whether it be, starting with the Me Too movement so many years ago, and then coming into DE&I and things that the company made available for everyone, to advance women in the workplace, to, have women be able to achieve their goals, achieve their dreams, their professional growth. And then having that go away and having to come into the inclusive culture thing, getting rid of the D&I as well. I think it's something that is, it's baby steps, but it's working. I have seen a difference, not only in the company where I'm at right now, but definitely from my past life as one of the few female leaders in a completely male dominated private law firm. Um, I've told the story. It's kind of sounds like let's get out your violin and whine about it. It's not
Mhm.
that. It's just, it was difficult to grow up in a completely male dominated world where you weren't given the same opportunities, where you had to work twice or three times as hard as your male peers to get there, where you were left out, where you were accused of, just being dramatic. That's just the way it went for me, and I'm sure it has gone for a lot of other women in, the business world, and just either trying to grow professionally in their careers. And today I am, proud to say that the company I'm in has allowed me to grow and to reach this position, and not only to do it for myself, but to also permeate this into the company and back into the company for other women to be able to grow and to have opportunities. So my
I
life
was
has changed completely from when I began to where I am now.
I was going to ask you, I heard, I don't know if I'm right or wrong, that in Mexico, in the next years that they will come, there is some law or regulation that the companies now will need to have like 50% male and 50% female, something like that. I don't know if you hear that is going to be, I don't know if a law regulation, but it's like kind of, to really support more women in leadership and especially in better position or like, leadership position. Do you hear about it?
Yeah, I've heard about it, but I don't know what it's about, Adriana. I've kind of heard about it probably the same way you have. Is it going to be a law, a regulation, a norm, something like that? I have absolutely no idea. Um, but there's something that kind of tickles me about that, because I don't think, while a law or a regulation would be excellent to have and it would be great, I don't think that this is something that would necessarily help, because I don't believe women should be in leadership positions just because they are women,
I
right?
know.
I don't believe we should be in a situation where it's just to check the box. I believe there are women who are fully competent to reach those leadership positions, and there are women who are not, just the same as there are men who can do it and men who cannot. Um, so it kind of like, it frustrates me that we have to get to a point, having this discussion, so now our company is going to be obligated to put women in leadership positions. What if they're not fit for that, what if you get rid of men who are brilliant at what they do, just to fill in these
Mm.
female leadership roles? Yeah, the statistic and the percentage is terrible. But that doesn't mean that there's not a better way to get there. I don't agree sometimes with the way things are handled. And this is why some companies end up doing the whole check the box, right? Like, I remember at one point there was this, at my old law firm, there was this interview or, survey done by some huge legal ranking firm. And I remember they checked the box
Mhm.
to, for, I think it was D&I, way before D&I existed. It was barely starting. And it was because I think there was two women in the workplace and one Jewish member of the firm, and they were like, "Oh yeah, so now we have a whole DE&I program, and we're like promoting this," and it was just to check the box, and that bothered me, and I think it still bothers me to this day that things aren't actually what they seem.
Let me ask a question, Erica. To what extent, in your opinion, looking back, to what extent was the male domination thing allowed to remain in place, codified, if you will, by the breadwinner idea that a woman is coming in trying to get the same job as this guy over here who's got a wife at home and a young family to feed.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
that that's kind of a crude story, but it's probably true.
It's the reality. And yeah, I mean, I talk about this all the time. I mean, at least from my perspective in Mexico, and I'm only going to speak for Mexico, not for Latin American countries. Mexico culturally is still way behind. Again, we've gotten better. There are more women in the workplace making money, double income households, of course, joint responsibilities with the kids. But absolutely there is still this idea that the man is the one who has to, bring the bacon home. And the woman, her traditional role is either to be at home, cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids, or if they do work at something, they still have to do all of that household stuff and chores. So this is, I think it's still something that exists today. Again, it's getting better. In my case, we have a double income household. We have two girls. We share responsibilities. But when I say share responsibilities, of course, probably 80% of those responsibilities still fall on me, right? And it's just the way it is.
So, what about the idea of remote work? Is it primarily female?
I don't think so.
Mhm.
I'd have to see who works where here in my company. I haven't even thought about that. But I do feel that there's a bunch of men that still do home office. For example, I'm on the opposite. On the opposite. I love coming into the office, so I come into the office 3 or 4 days a week. And then I do one or two remote. And that gives me the flexibility to, change my days around. But I think it's kind of equal. I would have to say it's kind of equal without having looked at numbers.
Yeah. And how long a commute do you have?
My commute is actually really short, probably about 15 minutes, but it's, Mexico City traffic, so those 15 minutes can turn into 1 hour if
Or more.
you're unlucky. So it depends on the time of the day. It depends if there's, blockages in the city. It depends. We have all kinds of fun stuff here in Mexico that make traffic horrible. But yeah, my commute is really short. If I have a good day, it's really short.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, so are this is a just a dumb guy question, okay? With the new president of Mexico being a
Mhm.
woman, although very long-term professional in her own right, from a superior senior level role in politics, already well known.
Mhm.
What is every woman in Mexico a fan of this lady now?
No. And I'm not I'm not gonna get into, obviously like political conversations because then I'll get in trouble. But
And then as I talk, Erika, and I want to mention something about that because a lot of people ask me that the same question.
yeah, I mean, I think it's like everyone, not everyone, all of us as women were very proud when she was elected the first female president. I cannot deny that. It's something to be, celebrated, of course. However, I think there was also a lot of panic with the last presidency leaving, her coming in. What would she do? She was part of the same political party. However, she has this vast, curriculum and education. So I personally had, a bunch of hopes, like, let's give her the benefit of the doubt, right? Like, let's see. Today, am I, Erica, 100% happy with her performance? I am not, right? As a Mexican, but that I go back to my point. Just because she's a woman, I'm not going to say, yeah, she's like the best president ever. I think even if she was a man, I would have my same opinions, right? So I think that's happening to me and to a lot of other people. It's not just because she's a woman that women will follow her. I think it's the decisions that she makes as the leader of this country, especially how hard it's been this year since she took office. Um, she hasn't had it easy. I'll have to say that. But yeah, that's my thinking.
Hey, I mean, similar than yours. I mean, I don't want to talk about the political party, but I'm happy as a Mexican, as a woman, and I'm happy that for the first time we have a women president. So, uh, for my point of view, I will give her some time, to see if she can do better. But definitely this year was very difficult for the whole country in many ways. So, but I'm happy. I like what she's doing in few things and other things, there I'm not very happy about it. But for a really macho man country, I mean, I'm so happy that we have a women president. So that's all I can say about it.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it was definitely a milestone. Our kids will learn about it. When was the first female president in Mexico? I mean, it's huge. So, I mean, I agree. Let's see what the next years bring about. But yeah, I mean, just going back, I mean, I think just because she's a woman doesn't automatically make women fans of her because she's a female. And
Is she, in terms of programming, political programming, is she establishing rules or just precedent to get more women involved in leadership training?
I'm not really sure about that one. I mean, I think she pulled over a bunch of things from the prior administration. And, I'm going to give an example. It has nothing to do with this, right? But like the prior administration passed a law some years ago where, domestic violence, for example, was classified not only from male to female, but now female to male. The whole, I'm not sure how you say it in English, but the violencia vicaria, Adriana, I'm not really sure what that is, but the whole how women use their children, for example, in a divorce to take their children away from the father, because again, in our stereotype of our roles in Mexico, women should be the ones taking care of the children. So they would use quote unquote violence to say that the father was not fit to be a father or that should not be able to see his children. And there was a law passed which automatically now recognizes male rights in these situations because women were actually taking advantage of it, right? And there were all of these horror stories with kids being pulled around and, just, parents fighting. And it was usually the woman who was given, blind trust and whatever she's saying must be true. And this is an example of something that went in the past administration. And I think it's been very beneficial. I mean, I'm not saying it against women. I'm just saying it created more equality in this specific subject matter.
Yeah. Erika, going to the last question because the show is going to finish soon. What helps make female and male leadership styles complement each other? That this is, the most important. And I mean, we have been discussing about that definitely we're different, but how we can complement each other, and especially in the workplace, how can really, can help each other, can support each other.
Yeah, I think it goes back to, one, acknowledging that there's different types of leadership. Two, respecting each other, in the different styles. And then three, this is my thought, grabbing the best traits or characteristics from each one that will get us to the finish line as a business, right? So that means if I have certain leadership styles and out of, I don't know, five of them, two of them are great, but then my peer has another leadership style and characteristics and two other of his styles are great. Why don't we take those four and use those four and move forward, right? I don't think we don't have to use everything that we know, every leadership style, implement it for every decision, but I do think we need to take the best of both worlds, at least when we're looking for a joint objective, and try to get that forward.
Lovely, definitely. I mean, I think the complementary female and male leadership creates workplace that are not just successful, but from my point of view, sustainable, inclusive, and especially deeply human.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Completely agree with you.
So Ed, I don't know if you want to mention something else before we go.
I was going to bring up the topic of military, police, women in that kind of power position. Is that evident? Is that not in the conversation at all?
Um, I don't know what you have to say other than that. I don't think it's that evident.
Not at all.
I mean, military, of course, whether we want to call it military, military police, or whatever we want to call it now, I think it's still, I mean, if we have, percentages which are low in female leadership occupied positions, in the military, I think they're even lower. And I'm not saying that there's not women with very high ranking positions within the military. There are, but I think they're just, a counted few. Um,
And and what about in the legal system, judges, for instance, and
well,
politicians?
Yeah, I think we've definitely seen a growth in that. Definitely since, since Claudia took over, I do see many more women in, politician positions at any level, right? Federal, state, municipal, they're you can see them a lot more, and that does make me really happy. As to judges, we're going through the judicial reform right now. So I wouldn't want to comment on that because it's kind of still a work in progress. I don't know how it's going to end up. I don't know exactly what will be the outcome, but I'm pretty sure there will be, more women in those positions moving forward.
So now, as we come to a close, the next 5 minutes or so, um, if you'd like to make a summary statement to the women of Latin America.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I think if we can all identify with the fact that we live in countries, and again, I'm speaking for Mexico, but know that our neighbors are many times similar to us, where culturally we still have room to grow and to improve, and where there's still a lot of male dominated industries, a lot. And where we still have these stereotypes and assigned responsibilities and roles. Um, I think we just need to power through. We need to take advantage of the tools that we are getting, whether it be through the government, whether it be through our employers, whether it be leaning on our girlfriends or friends or male friends to help us move up and move forward and achieve our goals. I think that's what we have to do. There's no easy way to fix it, and it's not black and white. Um, I might have had a tough time with something, and right now I'm okay, while another woman peer might have had a really easy time getting where she is, but now is struggling with something else, right? I think each of our stories is different, but we need to just kind of persevere and ask for support. I always say, don't only ask for support from women. Don't depend on women to push you through and up. Always, get the men to help you out too, right? I mean, demand that they let you be seen, that your voice be heard, and that you be considered equally for absolutely anything that you want to reach for.
Adriana, do you want to summarize now? And if there's feedback that you would like to receive on behalf of your guest and my guest, um, explain to the audience out there
I
about how
mean,
to reach you.
Uh, of course, they can reach me on social media, El Mundo de Adriana Fuentes Diaz, and also LinkedIn, Adriana Fuentes Diaz. I'm writing, as you know, my fifth book about women, mujeres fuertes en tiempos de crisis, strong women in some crisis times. So I'm very happy because I'm having the opportunity to interview many women in different sectors in Latin America, different ages. So I'm learning a lot about them. And today I learned a lot about Erica's point of view, and especially in this law thing. So yeah, very very happy with this show, Erica. I really enjoy your comments, your information that you share with us. So I hope that we can have the opportunity to talk again in some other time.
And I just want to say thank you to both of you, and particularly to you, Adriana, and Stephen in the background for the introduction. And I'd like to just end my piece here by saluting the Nobel Peace Prize winner from Venezuela.
Oh yeah, thank you very much. Because for me, it's so important. I live in Venezuela for more than 30 years, so for me, this is Maria Corina Machado is a strong woman. Definitely, it's like so cool and I feel so proud as a woman, that she won that prize because she really deserved it.
Recognition.
Yeah,
Never mind the political statement.
exactly.
Thank you. I liked it. Sorry for my problems with video stuff going on right in the middle. I'm glad that your section was not interrupted.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Erica. Thank you, Ed. And have a nice day to both of you. So Erica will share with you the link so you can just post it on your social media or anywhere else you want. So thank you for your time.
Perfect. Thank you both. It was really fun to be here, and thank you for having me.
Thanks. Please come back.
Absolutely.
Yes, exactly. To talk about other things. So thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Have
Adios.
a
All
nice
right,
day.
guys. Bye.